Hello, my name is Jessica Scott-Whyte, and I am the author of The Asparagus Bunch, which is my first ever novel, which I've written for 11 plus readers, and it is a contemporary comedy. So, what can I tell you about The Asparagus Bunch? Well, it is told from the point of view of Leon, who is 13 years old. He lives in Blackpool with his mum, Caroline, and he's been moved on from quite a number of schools. At the beginning of the book, actually, he's starting at his seventh school. And Leon, according to most people, has an attitude problem. So, what can I tell you about the inspiration for the story? Well, I started writing this book at the beginning of lockdown, which was a very difficult time for me. I'm sure for you as well, and for many, many people. It was a difficult time because so much was taken away from us so quickly. Our freedom, where we could go, who we could see, if we could enjoy certain activities or go to school or go to work. There was such an upheaval during that time, and I found that very, very difficult. I found it really difficult to accept that I no longer had control over so many different aspects of my life. And during that time, one of my children was in the process of actually being diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder. So we were going through that entire process at that time, which was also extremely challenging. It was a bit unknown territory in many ways. And all of that, I decided to sort of channel all of those feelings, those emotions into a story. But what I also really wanted to bring humor to the story itself, which I think is so needed right now. And I think humor is such a really great tool to be able to actually explore different topics, and particularly tricky topics. And there's quite a few of them in the book. For example, bullying, racism, injustice, and looking at these subjects through humor, I think gives us a chance to really see things in a different way and analyze things in a different way. Another thing you really should know about the book is that it's got an awful lot of sweets in it. Sweets are really for Leon, his world, his universe, his reason for living. He is hugely passionate about the world of confectionery. And again, at the time when I was writing the book and it being in lockdown, it really made me question what I enjoy doing, how important it is to have interest, to have hobbies, to have focus points, that when life is difficult or challenging or indeed unfair at times, and we might be struggling, what are those things that we can explore, whether it's music or art or reading or sports or anything you like, really. It's so important to have interests of some kind to balance out those moments where we need to escape and be in a happy, safe place. So I'm going to read from the book now, just a couple of pages. And this particular extract is from chapter 33, so we're quite far on in the book. And it's a chapter called Operation Whisper. So to give you a bit of context around it, Leon has just unfortunately realized that his prized sweet stash, which he has in a bunker underneath his house, well, something's gone terribly wrong, particularly with the thermometer, the temperature in the bunker itself. So he's convinced that his sweet stash has been more or less destroyed. So he's now desperately trying to do something about it. Okay, so I'm going to read from chapter 23, which is called Operation Whisper. The first 24 hours were touch and go, I'm not going to lie. I didn't think I'd manage to execute an operation of such scale and magnitude, especially one that I'd never trialed before. It was crucial for me to keep my own body temperature regulated at all times. So if imagining the sight of me wrapped from head to toe in gold thermal foil like a mutant chocolate lint bunny amuses you, I couldn't care less. That's what it took. Help is completely futile in moments like this. The best thing that anyone could do was to stay far, far away. Luckily, Caroline sensed this and sent Jim back off to whatever stupid bridge he presumably lived under. Then she stuck a series of post-its on the door of the bunker asking if I needed food, water, maybe an extra woolly hat. I ignored them all and just kept hiking up and down the stairs, ferrying almost 3,000 vacuum-sealed packets from the bunker to my bedroom. And don't think it was simply a matter of just plonking the packets in any old space. First, each sample had to be individually wrapped in its own piece of gold thermal foil, then labelled using a white sticker and a black marker so I could tell them apart. The samples then had to be arranged alphabetically in rows to ensure that there was no sorting discrepancy. In the end, my bedroom floor looked like an enormous tray of Ferrero Rocher. Once the stash migration had been successfully taken care of, I got to work on slowly increasing the temperature on the thermostat. It was a painstaking job swabbing the inside of the Pyrex drawers after each temperature adjustment, and the tiny squeaking sound that the swabs made whenever they came into contact with a bit of condensation was criminal. Criminal! That whole nightmarish part of the process took me a full 2 days, during which time I barely ate or slept. I even held off using the loo as much as possible. FYI, a fit to burst bladder is a great way of keeping yourself awake. When Caroline caught sight of my heavy, bloodshot eyes at 11 p.m. on Sunday evening, she pinged off a message to Deluni saying that I wouldn't be in for school for the coming days due to feeling poorly. Poorly? As if! I was in a semi-state of consciousness. I was barely existing. I felt like a hollow Kinder egg, an empty tin of roses. I was a Freddo frog bar with my caramel insides sucked out. On Tuesday evening at 6:36 p.m., the very last vacuum-sealed packet had been put back on the very last drawer. I read the temperature on the wall for the billionth time and exhaled slowly. 18.3 degrees. Order had been restored. Yes, the frosty enemy had finally been vanquished. I hope you enjoyed that brief extract, and I hope that it might interest you to read a bit more about Leon's adventure. And thank you very much for listening to this video, and very happy reading. Take care. Bye-bye.